I am 16. I am trembling. I am always trembling. Like a body flinching after it's been shot. I am dead inside. He will come back. I must speak quickly. I was sold 2 years ago. And I can't get out. I am meat. I am an animal. I hate my hair. I am 16. And I am owned by them. They do what they want. My legs are long. There are burns. I am an ashtray, a garbage pail, my hands trembling. Sometimes they refuse to use condoms. And if we refuse them, we're beaten. Look. My back. I was 12. My father, always drunk, always angry, and his friend, his best friend, who was 40, started raping me. Whenever he saw me, he threatened to ruin me if I told. He threatened to tell my father. Two years. I did what he wanted. He gave me syphilis. This is herpes on my mouth, and I hate my hair! What? Are you sure he doesn't know? Are you sure he isn't coming in? he got caught. My father's best friend. Someone walked in when he was raping me against a wall. He told my father I put him up to it. My father believed him. He beat me with a wooden piece of furniture and threw me out. I could not walk for weeks. But I was on the run. "17 minutes. My father exiled me. And my mother, because she was with him 22 years, did not speak out. 14. No place to go. On the streets. A man took me in. And my brother, my only friend, turned his back on me. And the man started beating. No place to go. No way out. Next, to the police. Went there for help. A stolen wallet. A young one with a crew cut told me he knew of a job. He brought me in. He sold me to them. If I try to leave, they will kill my family. I still love them. The police tied me to a bed for 7 hours, handcuffed my hands, made me naked, and the 6 of them I am an ashtray. A garbage pail. I have been sick. And there is no time. Five minutes. bored. I do not feel pleasure. I am only vulgar, only flesh. If someone could see my heart, they would see that it isn't there. I hate my hair. And I haven't heard from my mother in a year. This is not a choice. You go to the police to protect. I am an animal. I am property. I am a receptacle, and I am trembling. I am found on the streets of Paris. I am Bulgarian. I am from the Philippines. I was taken from Sierra Leone. I am Russian. I'm from the Kelly field. Sold in Tel Aviv, Amsterdam, Atlanta. I'm from Kosovo, Bombay, Ghana, Lebanon, and I am a raped opening. And I am about to become extinct. There will be nothing left of me. Elephant. Eagle. Girl.
Second grade, 7 years old, my brother was talking about periods. I didn't like the way he was laughing.
What's a period? I went to my mother.
It's punctuation, she said. You put it at the end of a sentence.
My father brought me a card. To my little girl who isn't so little anymore. I was terrified. My mother showed me the thick sanitary napkins. I was to bring the used ones to the can under the kitchen sink.
I remember being one of the last. I was 13.
We all wanted it to come.
I was so afraid. I started putting the used pads in brown paper bags in the dark storage places under the roof.
7th grade, my mother said, "Oh, that's nice."
In junior high, brown drips before it came coincided with the little hair under my arms, which grew unevenly. One armpit had hair, the other didn't.
I was 16, sort of scared. My mother gave me Cody. I went and lay next to her in bed.
She was so uncomfortable.
One night, I came home and snuck into bed without turning on any lights. My mother had found the used pads and put them between the sheets of my bed.
12 years old, still in my underpants, hadn't gotten dressed. Looked down on the staircase. There it was. Looked down, and I saw blood.
8th grade. My mom sort of noticed my underwear. Then she gave me a plastic diaper. A pad?
My mom was very warm. She said, "Let's get you a pad."
My friend Marcia, they celebrated when she got hers. They had a dinner for her.
We all wanted our period!
We all wanted it!
Now! 13 years old. It was before Kotex. Had to watch your dress. I was poor. Blood on the back of my dress in church didn't show, but I was guilty.
10 years old. No preparation. Brown gunk on my underpants.
She showed me how to put in a tampon. It only got in halfway.
I associate my period
With an inexplicable phenomena.
My mother told me I had to use a rag.
Mother said no to tampons.
You couldn't put anything in your sugar dish.
Wore wads of cotton. Told my mom, and she gave me Elizabeth Taylor paper dolls?
I was 15. My mother said Mazel Tov. She slapped me in the face. Didn't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing.
my period like cake mix before it's baked.
I was 15 and I've been hoping to get it.
When I saw white girls in the gym with tampons, I thought they were bad girls.
Saw little red drops on the pink tiles. I said, yeah. Used OB and liked putting my fingers up there.
11 years old, wearing white pants. Blood started to come out. Thought it was dreadful.
I'm not ready.
I got back pain.
I got horny.
12 years old. I was happy. My friend had a Ouija board. Asked when we were gonna get our periods. Looked down, and I saw blood!
Looked down, and there it was.
Rolled up my underwear and threw them in a corner.
My mother made me hot water and wine. I fell asleep.
I was in my bedroom in my mother's apartment. I had a comic book collection. My mother said, you mustn't lift your box of comic books.
My girlfriends told me you hemorrhage every month.
My mother was in and out of a mental hospital. She couldn't take me coming of age.
Dear Miss Carling, please excuse my daughter from basketball. She has just matured.
At camp, they told me not to take a bath with my period. They wiped me down with antiseptic.
Scared people would smell it? Scared they say I smelled like fish?
Throwing up, couldn't eat.
I got hungry.
Sometimes it's very red.
I like the drops that drop into the toilet. Drip drop, like paint.
Sometimes it's brown, and it disturbs me.
I was 12. My mother slapped me and brought me a red cotton shirt. My father went out for a bottle of sangria.
I was 14.
I was 11.
I was 12.
I was 10.
I was 13.
It happened.
1965, 5 years old. My mama tells me in a scary, loud, life-threatening voice to stop scratching my coochie snorchers. I become terrified I scratch it off down there. I do not touch myself again, even in the bath. I'm afraid of the water getting in and filling me up so I explode. I put Band-Aids over my coochie to cover the hole, but they fall off in the water. I imagine a stopper, a bathtub plug up there to prevent things from getting inside me. I sleep with 3 pairs of happy heart pattern cotton underpants underneath my snap-up pajamas. I still want to touch myself sometimes, but I don't. Memory, 7 years old. Edgar Montaigne, who is 10, gets angry at me and punches me with all his might between my legs. It feels like he breaks my entire self. I limp home. I can't pee. My mama asks what's wrong with my coochie snorcher, and when I tell her what Edgar did to me, she yells at me and says to never let anyone touch me down there again. I try to explain he didn't touch it. Mama, he punched it. Memory, 9 years old. I play on the bed, bouncing and falling, and impale my coochie snorcher on the bedpost. I make high-pitched screaming noises that come straight from my coochie snorcher's mouth. I get taken to the hospital, and they sew it up down there from where it's been torn apart. Memory, 10 years old. I'm at my father's house, and he's having a party upstairs. Everyone's drinking. I'm playing alone in the basement, and I'm trying on my new cotton white bra and panties my father's girlfriend gave me. Suddenly, my father's best friend, this big man, Alfred, comes up from behind me, pulls my new underpants down, and sticks his big hard penis into my coochie snorcher. I scream, I kick, I try to fight him off, but he already gets in. My father's there then, and he has a gun, and there's a loud, horrible noise, and there's blood all over Alfred and me. Lots of blood. I'm sure my coochie snorcher's finally falling out. Alfred is paralyzed for life, and my mama doesn't let me see my father for 7 years. Memory, 13 years old. My coochie snorcher is a very bad place. A place of pain, nastiness, punching, invasion, and blood. It's a site for mishaps. It's a bad luck zone. I imagine a freeway between my legs, and girl, I am traveling, going far away from here. Memory, 16 years old. There's this gorgeous 24-year-old woman in our neighborhood, and I stare at her all the time. One day, she invites me into her car. She asks me if I like to kiss boys, and I tell her I do not like that. Then, she says she wants to show me something, and she leans over and kisses me so softly on the lips with her lips, and then puts her tongue in my mouth. Wow! She asks me if I want to come over, and she kisses me again and tells me to feel it, to let our tongues feel it. She asked my mom if I could spend the night, and my mother's delighted that such a beautiful, successful woman has taken an interest in me. I'm scared, but really I can't wait. Her apartment's fantastic. She's got it hooked up. It's the 70s, the beads, the fluffy pillows, the mood lights. I decide right there I want to be a secretary like her when I grow up. She makes a vodka for herself and then asks what I want to drink. I say the same as she's drinking. And she says she doesn't think my mama would like me drinking vodka. Well, I say she probably wouldn't like me kissing girls either. Pretty lady makes me a drink. Then she changes into this chocolate satin teddy. She's so beautiful. I always thought bold tigers were ugly. I say, you look great. She says, so do you. Well, I say, but I only have this white cotton bra and underpants. Then she dresses me, slowly, in another satin teddy. It's lavender, like the first soft days of spring. The alcohol has gone to my head and I am loose and ready. She slowly and gently lays me out on the bed, and just our bodies rubbing makes me come. Then she does everything to me and my Coochie Snorcher I always thought was nasty before, and wow, I'm so hot, so wild. She says, your vagina untouched by a man smells so nice, so fresh. Wish I could keep it that way forever. I get crazy wild, and then the phone rings, and of course it's my mama. I'm sure she knows. She catches me at everything. I'm breathing so heavy, and I try to act normal when I get on the phone, and she asks me, what's wrong with you? Have you been running? I say, no, Mama, exercising. Then she tells the beautiful secretary to make sure I'm not around boys, and the pretty lady tells her, trust me, there's no boys around here. In the morning, I am worried I've become a bush because I'm so in love with her. She smiles, but I never see her again. I realized later she was my surprising, unexpected, and politically incorrect salvation. She transformed my sorry-ass Coochie Snorcher and raised it up into a kind of heaven.
My vagina is a shell, a round, pink, tender shell, opening and closing, closing and opening. My vagina is a flower, an eccentric tulip, the center acute and deep, the scent delicate, the petals gentle but sturdy. I did not always know this. I learned this in the Vagina Workshop. I learned this from the woman who runs the Vagina Workshop, a woman who believes in vaginas, who really sees vaginas, who helps women see their own vaginas by seeing other women's vaginas. In the first session, the woman who runs the workshop asked us to draw a picture of our own beautiful, unique, fabulous vagina. That's what she called it. She wanted us to know what her own unique, beautiful, fabulous vagina looked like to us. One woman, who was pregnant, drew a big red mouth, screaming with coins spilling out. Another, very skinny woman, drew this big serving plate with a kind of Devonshire pattern on it. I drew a huge black dot with little squiggly lines around it. The black dot was meant to be a black hole in space, and the squiggly lines were meant to be people or things or just your basic atoms that get lost in there. I had always thought of my vagina as an anatomical vacuum, randomly sucking up particles and objects from the surrounding environment. I had always perceived my vagina as an independent entity, spinning like a star in its own galaxy, eventually burning up in its own gaseous energy, or exploding and splitting into thousands of other smaller vaginas, all of them spinning in their own galaxies. I did not think of my vagina in practical or biological terms. I did not, for example, see it as a part of my body, between my legs attached to me. In the workshop, we were to look at our vaginas with hand mirrors. Then, after careful examination, we were to verbally report to the group what we saw. I must tell you, up until this point, everything I knew about my vagina was based on hearsay or invention. I had never really seen the thing. It had never occurred to me to look at it. It seemed so reductive, so awkward getting down there the way we did in the workshop on our shiny blue mats with our hand mirrors. It reminded me of how the early astronomers must have felt with their primitive telescopes. It was quite unsettling at first. My vagina. Like the first time you see a fish cut open and you discover this whole other bloody complex world inside, right under the skin. It was so raw, so red, so fresh. And the thing that surprised me most was all the layers. Layers inside layers, opening into more layers. My vagina amazed me. I couldn't speak. When it came my turn in the workshop, I was speechless. I had awakened to what the woman who ran the workshop called vaginal wonder. I just wanted to lie there on my mat, examining my vagina forever. It was better than the Grand Canyon, ancient and full of grace. It had the freshness and innocence of a proper English garden. It was funny, very funny. It made me laugh. It could hide and seek, open and close. It was a mouth. It was the morning. Then, the woman who ran the workshop asked how many of us had had orgasms. 2 women tentatively raised their hands. I didn't raise my hand, although I had had orgasms. I didn't raise my hand because they were accidental orgasms. They happened to me. They happened in my dreams, and I would wake in splendor. They happened a lot in water, mostly the bath, once in Cape Cod. They happened on horses, on bicycles, on treadmills at the gym. I did not raise my hand because, although I had had orgasms, I did not know how to make one happen. I had never tried to make one happen. To me, it was a magical, mystical thing. I didn't want to interfere. It felt wrong getting involved, contrived, manipulative. It felt Hollywood. Orgasms by formula? The surprise would be gone and the mystery. The problem, of course, was that the surprise had been gone for 2 years. I hadn't had a magical, accidental orgasm in a long time, and I was getting frantic. That's why I was in the workshop. Then the moment had arrived that I both dreaded and secretly longed for. The woman who ran the workshop asked us to take out our hand mirrors again and see if we could locate our clitoris. We were there. The group of us women on our backs, on our mats, finding our spots, our locus, our reason. And I don't know why, but I started crying. Maybe it was sheer embarrassment. Maybe it was knowing that I had to give up the fantasy. This enormous, life-consuming fantasy that someone or something was coming to do this for me. That someone was coming to lead my life, to choose direction, to give me orgasms. I was used to living off the record in a magical, superstitious way. This clitoris finding, this wild workshop on our shiny blue mats was making the whole thing real. Too real. I could feel the panic coming. The simultaneous terror and realization that I had avoided finding my clitoris, had rationalized it as mainstream and consumerist because I was in fact terrified that I did not have a clitoris. Terrified that I was one of those constitutionally incapables, one of those frigid, gut, shut down, dry, apricot-tasting, bitter, oh my God! I lay there on my mat, reaching with my fingers, and all I could think about was the time when I was 10, and I lost my gold ring with the emeralds in a lake. How I kept diving over and over to the bottom of the lake, running my hands over stones and fish and bottle caps and slimy stuff, but never my ring. The panic I felt. I knew I'd be punished. I shouldn't have worn it swimming. The woman who ran the workshop saw my insane scrambling, sweating, and heavy breathing. She came over. I told her I have lost my clitoris. It's gone. I shouldn't have worn it swimming. The woman who ran the workshop laughed. She calmly stroked my forehead. She told me my clitoris was not something I could lose. It was me, the essence of me. It was both the doorbell to the house and the house itself. I didn't have to find it. I had to be it. Be it. Be my clitoris. Be my clitoris. I lay back and closed my eyes. I put the hand mirror down. I watched myself float above myself. I watched as I slowly began approaching myself and re-enter. It reminded me of an astronaut re-entering the atmosphere of the Earth. It was quiet, this re-entry. Quiet and gentle. I bounced and landed and bounced. I came into my own muscles and blood and cells, and then I just slid into my vagina. It was suddenly easy, and I fit. I was all warm and pulsing and ready and young and alive, and then, without looking, my eyes still closed, I put my finger on what had suddenly become me. There was a little quivering at first, which urged me to stay. Then the quivering became a quake, an eruption, the layers dividing and subdividing. Then the quaking broke open into an ancient horizon of light and silence, which opened into a plane of music and color and innocence and longing, and I felt connection, calling connection as I lay there thrashing about on my little blue mat. My vagina is a shell, a tulip and a destiny. I am arriving as I am beginning to leave. My vagina, me.
Would you rather get caught stealing or cheating? Would you rather ask him to put on a condom or give him oral sex?
I don't want to do this.
Would you rather lose your mother or your father? Be in a tsunami or earthquake? Get buried alive or freeze to death?
I'm going to sleep.
Why won't you ever play? It's just a game. You're no fun.
At 5 years old, I was putting my baby sister's diaper on. I saw her vagina. I wanted one. I thought that it would grow. I thought that it would open. I ached to belong. I ached to smell like my mother. Her aroma lived in my hair, on my hands, in my skin. I ached to be pretty. Pretty. I wondered why I was missing my bathing suit top at the beach, why I wasn't dressed like the other girls, why I didn't get to talk about girl stuff. I ached to be completed. I ached to belong. They assigned me a sex the day I was born. It's as random as being adopted or being assigned a hotel room on the 30th floor. It has nothing to do with who you are or your fear of heights. But in spite of the apparatus I was forced to carry around, I knew I was a girl. They beat me for it. They beat me for crying. They pummeled me for wanting to touch, to pet, to hug, to help, to hold, to be held, to laugh with the others, to believe my existence is not a sin. They beat me for doing cartwheels, crocheting socks, for carrying purses to kindergarten. They kicked the shit out of me every day on my way to school. In the park, they smashed my magic marker painted nails. They punched my lipsticked mouth. They beat the girl out of me. Or so they tried. I went underground. I stopped playing the flute. Be a man, stand up for yourself. Go punch him back. I grew a full beard. It was good. I was big. I joined the Marines. Suck it up and drive on. I became duller, jaded, sometimes cruel, always clenched, inaccurate, incomplete. Butch it up. I read the news. Around the world, I saw my sisters being killed. Butch it up. Luana Biersack in Brazil, sexually assaulted, beaten, and drowned. 14 years old. Butch it up. Amna and Mino in Riyadh, thrown in a sack and beaten to death by the Saudi Arabian police. Butch it up. Erica Tijerina in El Paso, stabbed 24 times. Butch it up. I ran away from home, from school, from boot camp, ran to Miami, Greenwich Village, the Aleutian Islands, New Orleans. I found gay people, wilderness lesbians, got permission to be myself. I found a man who loved me, who told me I was beautiful. And I finally began to believe it. I got my first hormone shot. I transition. I travel. I immigrate. 350 hours of hot needles. I would count the male particles as they died. 16 man hairs gone. The feminine is in your face. I lift my eyebrows more. I'm curious. I ask questions. And my voice. Practice.
Men are monotone and flat.
It's all about resonance, melody.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. And my vagina. My vagina is so much friendlier. It's like when you're trying to sleep and there's a loud car alarm. When I got my vagina, it was like someone finally turned it off. I cherish my vagina. It brings me joy. The orgasms come in waves. Before they were jerky. My lieutenant colonel father ended up paying for it. My vagina. My mother was worried what people would think of her, that she made this happen, until I came to church and everyone said, "You have a beautiful daughter." I got to be soft. I am allowed to touch. I am allowed to listen. I am able to receive, to be in the present tense. I can wake up in the morning, put my hair in a ponytail. A wrong was righted. I did not abandon my religion because it is not the religion that hates. It's people. I live now in the female zone. But you know how people feel about immigrants. They don't like it when you come from someplace else. They don't like it when you mix. My boyfriend, it wasn't his fault. They didn't want him falling in love with a foreigner, even though she was beautiful, and she listened and was kind. They didn't want him falling in love with ambiguity. It wasn't his fault. It was them. They told him loving me was wrong. Loving me was repulsive. Loving me made him a bitch, a pussy, a faggot. And they told him he needed to regain his honor, or they would kill him. It wasn't his fault. In court, his lawyers told him to say he didn't know, and it was such a shock when he found out I was really a man, that he didn't remember what he did next. But those weren't his words. My boyfriend, it wasn't his fault. When he took a hammer and beat me to death. It was them. It was what they told him. It was what they believed. It is what too many people still believe. Once a man, always a man. It was that, them, you. Us, that beat me to death. That beat me until I was bloody and broken. They beat me but they never beat the girl out of me.
Would you rather catch your boyfriend sleeping with your best friend or your sister?
Would you rather annoy me or let me go to sleep?
Wow, you're so grumpy.
Would you rather be someone I invite over again or keep asking me really stupid questions?
Why are you so upset?
Because your questions are totally depressing me. Because I'm sick of having to choose between two terrible, impossible things. Living with my mother or my father, being popular or smart, enjoying sex or being called a slut, being successful or following my heart. I want different questions. I hate these choices. I hate my life.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It was just a game. Are you crying?
Yes.
Would you rather I stay over here and let you alone or come over there and snuggle up with you?
A second.
Come over there?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's just so hard sometimes. It's so hard and sad.
I know. It is. I hate it.
Why are you crying?
Heart-shaped ideas. They pulse through my organs and legs and burn in my ears. I know when your girlfriend's really pissed off, even though she appears to give you what you want. I know when the storm is coming. I can feel invisible stirrings in the air. I can tell you if you won't call back. It's a vibe I share. 'Cause I am an emotional creature. I love that I don't take things lightly. Everything is so intense to me. The way I walk in the street, the way my mother wakes me up, the way I hear bad news, the way it's unbearable when I lose. 'Cause I am an emotional creature. I'm connected to everything and everyone. I was born like that. Don't you dare say I'm negative, that it's a teenage thing, or that it's only because I'm a girl. These feelings make me better, they make me ready, they make me present, they make me strong. 'Cause I'm an emotional creature, there's a particular way of knowing. It's like the older women somehow forgot. I rejoice that it's still in my body. I know when the coconut's about to fall. I know we pushed the earth too far. I know my father isn't coming back. that no one's prepared for the fire. I know that lipstick means more than show, and boys feel super insecure, and so-called terrorists are made, not born. And I know that one kiss can take away all my decision-making ability. And sometimes, you know, it should. This is not extreme. It's a girl thing, but we would all be if the big door inside us flew open. Don't tell me not to cry, to calm it down, not to be so extreme, to be reasonable, because I'm an emotional creature. It's how the earth got made. How the wind continues to pollinate. You don't tell the Atlantic Ocean to behave. No, I'm an emotional creature. Why would you want to shut me down or turn me off? I'm your remaining memory. I'm connecting you to your source. Nothing's diluted, nothing's leaked out. I can take you back. And I love that I can feel the insides of the feelings in you. Even if it stops my life or hurts too much or takes me off track, or even if it breaks my heart and makes me responsible. 'Cause I'm emotional, devotional, incantational creature. And I love, hear me, I love, love, love being a girl.
I started out as a lawyer. But in my late 30s, I became obsessed with making women happy. It began as a mission of sorts. I got involved in it, got very good at it. Kind of brilliant. It was my art. It was as if I had found my calling. I wore outrageous outfits when I dominated women. Lace and silk and leather. I used props, whips, handcuffs, rope, dildos! There was nothing like this in tax law. There were no props in corporate law. And I hated those blue corporate suits. Although, I wear them from time to time in my new line of work and they serve quite nicely. There were no props in corporate law, no excitement, no dark, mysterious foreplay, no erect nipples, no delicious mouths. But mainly, there was no moaning. You see,
key. I see now. Moaning was the thing that ultimately seduced me and got me addicted to making women happy. When I was a little girl, and I would see women in the movies making love, making strange orgasmic moaning noises, I used to laugh. I got strangely hysterical. I couldn't believe that those big, ungoverned sounds like that came out of women. I longed to moan. I practiced in front of my mirror. On a tape recorder. Moaning in various keys, various tones. But always, when I played it back, it sounded fake. It was fake. It wasn't rooted in anything sexual, really. Only in my desire to be sexual. But then, when I was 10, I'd pee really bad once on a car trip. It went on for almost an hour. And when I finally got to pee in this dirty little gas station, it was so exciting. I moaned. Oh! I moaned as I peed. Ah! I couldn't believe it. Me moaning in a Texaco station in the middle of Louisiana. I realized right then that moans are connected with not getting what you want right away, but with putting things off. I realized that moans were best when they caught you by surprise. When they came out of this deep, dark, mysterious part of you that was speaking its own language. I realized that moans were, in fact, that language. I became a moaner! I made most men anxious. Frankly, it terrified them. I was loud, and they couldn't concentrate on what they were doing. They'd lose focus. Then they'd lose everything. Shame. We couldn't make love in people's homes. The walls were too thin. I got a reputation in my building. People stared at me with contempt in the elevator. Men thought I was too intense. Some called me insane. I began to feel bad about moaning. I got quiet and polite. I made noise into a pillow. I learned to choke my moan. Hold it back, like a sneeze. I started getting headaches and stress-related disorders. I was becoming hopeless when I discovered women! I discovered most women loved my moaning. But more importantly, I discovered how deeply excited I got when other women moaned when I was responsible for other women moaning. I made love to quiet moaners, and they shocked themselves in their moaning. I made love to moaners, and they found a deeper, more penetrating moan. It was a kind of surgery, kind of delicate science, finding the tempo, the exact location, or home of the moan. That's what I called it. Sometimes I found it over a woman's jeans. Sometimes I
snuck up on it. Off the record, quietly moving in and disarming the surrounding alarms. Sometimes I use force, but not violent, oppressive force. More like dominating, lay back, and enjoy the ride kind of force. Sometimes it was simply mundane. I found the moan before things even started. While we were eating salad or chicken, here it is with my fingers like that, all mixed in with the balsamic vinegar. Sometimes I made the woman find her moan in front of me, waited, stuck it out until she opened herself. I wasn't fooled by the minor, more obvious moans. No, I pushed her further, all the way into her power moan.
Yeah.
You see, there's the clit moan. The vaginal moan. The combo clit vaginal moan. The almost moan. Oh my god, yes, oh my god. Oh wait, never mind. There's the right on it moan. There's the elegant moan. Oh yes, a little to the right, please. Oh, that's perfect, right there. There's the Jewish moan. There's the Irish Catholic moan. Forgive me, Father. Forgive me, Father. Forgive me, Daddy. Jesus, Mary, Josephine. There's the mountaintop moan. There's the doggy moan. There's the uninhibited, militant, bisexual moan. There's the machine gun moan. There's the Zen moan. There's the diva moan. There's the college moan. Oh my god, we have to be quiet. My roommates! Shut up! There's the Berkeley High moan. I'm a jacket and a fin. And finally, there's the surprise triple orgasm moan. Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god! I can't! Oh my god, I can't! Oh yes, I can! Yes, I can! Oh my god! Thank God that's over. What the fuck?
drunken men with rose-pointed fingers and sticks in Uttar Pradesh.
The Peshmerga women in the Kurdish mountains with berets in their hair and AK-47s instead of pocketbooks.
We are not waiting anymore
To be taken and retaken.
We are the Liberian women sitting in the African sun blockading the exits.
We are the Nigerian woman, baby strapped to our back as we occupy the oil terminals of Chevron.
We are the women of Kerala who refuse to let Coca-Cola privatize their water.
We are Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, who spoke out against the systematic silencing of sexual assault victims by telling her story to the world.
We are Cindy Sheehan showing up in Crawford without a plan.
We are all those who forfeited
husbands,
Boyfriends and dates.
'cause we were married to our mission.
We know that love comes from all directions and in many forms.
We are Malala, who spoke back to the Afghan Loya Jirga and told them they were raping warlords and kept speaking even when they kept trying to blow up her house.
And we are Zoya, whose radical mother was shot dead when Zoya was only a child. So she was fed on revolution, which was stronger than milk.
And we are the ones who kept and loved our babies, even though they have the faces of our rapists.
And we are the girls who stopped cutting ourselves to release the pain.
And we are the girls who refuse to have our clitoris cut.
And give up our pleasure.
We are
Rachel Corey, who couldn't move away from the Israeli tank.
We are
Sylvia Rivera, Janet Mock,
Jeff Jennings, Laverne Cox.
Who wouldn't accept having a vagina as a prerequisite for being a woman.
And Frank, who survives now because she wrote down her story.
We are Nina Sultani, gunned down by a sniper in the streets of Tehran.
As she voiced a new freedom and way.
We are Michelle Obama.
And we are Asma Mahfouz from the April 6th movement in Egypt, who twittered an uprising.
We are the women riding the high seas to offer abortions to women in need on ships.
And we are the North Carolina women, using the women's bathrooms that we were banned from.
And letting our existence stand for our protest.
We are women documenting the atrocities in stadiums with video cameras underneath our burqas.
We are 17 and living for a year in a tree and laying down in forests to protect wild oaks. We are out at sea interrupting whale murders.
We are freegans,
Vegans,
lovers,
But mainly,
we are refusers.
corporations are the only or best economic arrangement.
And we don't hate boys, okay?
That's another bullshit story. We are refusers.
But we crave kissing.
We don't want to do anything until we're ready. But it could be sooner than you think.
And we get to decide.
And we are not afraid of what is pulsing through us. It makes us alive.
Don't deny us, criticize us, or infantilize us.
We don't accept your checkpoints,
Blockades or air raids.
We are obsessed with learning.
On the barren tsunami beaches of Sri Lanka,
In the desolate and smelly remains of the lower night, we want school.
We want school! We want school!
We know that if you plan too long, nothing happens and things get worse.
And that most everything is found in the action.
And instinctively we get that the scariest thing isn't dying, but not trying at all.
And when we finally have our voice and come together, when we let ourselves gather the knowledge, when we stop turning on each other, but direct our energy towards what matters, when we stop worrying about our skinny-ass stomachs or too frizzy hair or fat thighs, when we stop caring about pleasing and making everyone so incredibly happy, we got the power!
If Janis Joplin was nominated the ugliest man on her campus,
And they sent Angela Davis to jail?
If Simone Way had manly virtues,
And Joan of Arc was hysterical.
if Bella Abzug was eminently obnoxious,
And Ellen Sirleaf Johnson is considered scary.
If Arundhati Roy is totally intimidating.
And Rigoberta Menchú is pathologically intense.
And Julia Butterfly Hill is an extremist freak.
call us hysterical then.
Fanatical.
Eccentric,
Delusional.
intimidating,
Eminently obnoxious.
Militant.
bitch!